Hello, Internet, and welcome to Game Theory. Just kidding, this isn't Game Theory, this is Random Channel. If you have watched this channel before, you would know that I make what-ifs and AUs of the shows Gravity Falls, The Owl House, and Amphibia. And one day I wish to do a what-if with crossovers. However, that is going to be difficult considering we have no idea when these shows take place corresponding to each other. If you ask either the Amphibia or Owl House fandom, they could say stuff from Lose and enter their respective realms at the same exact time, to by the time Luz enters the Boiling Isles, 10 years have passed since the original events of Amphibia. However, Disney has given me a lead to figure out how the Owl House corresponds with Amphibia in terms of time frames, and it comes in the form of a chibi tiny tale. I'm talking about the Amphibia and the Owl House crossover from Chibi Tiny Tales. I know, these things aren't considered canon one bit to their actual stories, but it's one of our only leads. Looking at the episode, Anne and the Planters got sat to Amphibia using the, they got sat to the Boiling Isles by the Calamity Box. The only time in the entire 3 seasons of Amphibia this could have happened is episode 19, or at least somewhere in between episodes 18 and 20. As it is the only part of the timeline, the Calamity Box is fully charged, and allowing Anne to use it for interdimensional travel. But it also isn't in the hands of Andreas, meaning True Colors hasn't happened yet, which is an event that would separate Anne from the Calamity Box and put her on Earth. So we've got the Amphibia timeline pretty narrowed down. Unfortunately, the Owl House is not as nice. It gives us very little information on the time period. All I know is that it can't be past episode 16, Hollow Mind, as that is basically the point of no return. Luz has no more time to relax, which we see her doing at the beginning of the Chibi Tiny Tale, and it's time to go through trauma for the plot. So let's try and narrow it down a bit more. It could happen in I don't think it could happen in season 2, as by that point Emperor Belos was really starting to take over the Boiling Isles, and yet, as Luz and Dan walk through the Boiling Isles in the Chibi Tiny Tale, no sign of the Emperor's Coven is to be seen. But then again, as I looked through more Chibi Tiny Tales, none of them took place in Season 1. At this point, I knew I couldn't figure this out on my own, so I asked help from the YouTube channel known as Tulip Edits 28. Hi, Tulip. She said that this probably takes place between Season 2, Episode 3, Echoes of the Past, and Season 2, Episode 10, Yesterday's Lie. This is because King has 2 horns at the beginning of the episode, which he got in Echoes of the Past, and because Luz starts to break down after Yesterday's Lie. Having a one episode frame compared with a 7-episode frame isn't ideal, to say the least, but it's the best we've got. However, despite all of this, no Chibi Tiny Tale can compare to the actual canon of the show. The most compelling evidence of these 2 shows existing in the same multiverse is in King's Tide of the Owl House, where we see a news article of Anne being sent to a world of frogs, which we know is Amphibia. So let's compare what we've said today and see if anything matches up. Luz arrives at the Boiling Isles at the beginning of summer, so the Owl House starts in June. Then, in early Season 2, Luz says summer camp must have ended by now, meaning she would have been in the Boiling Isles for 3 months then, the 3 months of summer. Around this time is when the Chibi Tiny Tale would take place, making this September, and by then Anne would have been in Amphibia for about 5 months, as we see in True Colors. This would also mean Anne would have been in Amphibia for at least 2 months before Luz enters the Boiling Isles. This would also put Anne's birthday, the day they got sent to Amphibia, on either April or May. Do you want to know something else? Because of Marcy's journal, we know Anne's zodiac sign is Gemini, whose birthdays are between May 21st and June 20th. Mic drop. Anyways, let's continue. We can assume both Season 2A and Season 2B of The Owl House are both a month each. So by the time Luz finally makes it back to the human realm, the month is November. Unfortunately, Anne and the Planters return to Amphibia after Christmas, meaning these two do not line up. Is this it? Is this the end? Did I just make an entire video on a theory only for me to prove myself wrong? No! If you think I'm going down that easily, I'll let you know I have one last trick up my sleeve. Remember how I said we can assume both halves of The Owl House Season 2 were a month long? That's because at the beginning of the second half, Emperor Bellos said that the Day of Unity would happen in 1 month. And since the first half was only 1 episode shorter than the second, I thought the month Season 2 was just longer than the one. What I'm trying to say is, the month that happened in Season 2A was slightly shorter than the month we saw in Season 2B, like how there's months that are 30 days long and months that are 31 days long, and also February. However, there's one minute detail I forgot to mention. Months on the Boiling Isles are canonically longer than on Earth. This may seem like speculation at first, but it is a confirmed part of the lore that has actually been mentioned by none other than the nerd herself, Lilith Clawthorne. In Season 2, Episode 15, Lilith says that Emperor Bellos had ascended to the throne on Scabuary 40th. That's right, 40 days in 1 month. We don't even know if that's where the day counter caps. 40 days in a month could either be the absolute minimum for days a month can have in the Boiling Isles, or months could be twice as long as they are on Earth. So if we measure in Boiling Isles months, for Season 2 at least, then it is definitely possible that Luz could have returned home by at least early January. The perfect time frame for Anne to return to Amphibia, where Mr. X or some other government official writes the news article about the weird frog dimension Anne was sent to, and then for it to reach screens of the Noseda household. Are you satisfied, Internet? I just shown you how these two shows correspond with each other, with the timelines, through a freaking chibi Tiny Tales. And I did it all just for the sole